Good evening, and welcome to another edition of the Red and Blue Review. Before we start, can we ask you to hit the like and subscribe button on YouTube? 87% of you watching won't be subscribers. You can also follow us on Instagram at red_and_blue_review, or follow us on Twitter on @red_blue_review. Thank you. Now on with the show.
Well, a very good evening, Palace fans across the globe. That was the first time I'd seen that introduction. I like the first bit. It was good of John Texter to do the voiceover for us for the social media, wasn't it, I thought? Anyway, my name's Ian Noble. I am your host tonight on this Red and Blue Review podcast in this pre-season. And I am joined this evening by my heavyweight panel. We've got the A-team out tonight. We have Paul Gear with the FA Cup. Hello, Paul. How are you, my friend?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, thank you. And hello, everyone. Good to see everyone after the break. It's obviously been nice to have a break with nothing to talk about with Crystal Palace.
Exactly. Nothing much to talk about today at all. And good to see you with the FA Cup, the only one that's stolen it from the club. That's brilliant. Jill Holyoake with his headphones and his replica shirt. How are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. Thank you. Hope everyone else is well. And as are you three guys as well.
Indeed. And Fergus Tid, how's your summer been so far, Ferg?
Really good, mate. Yeah, apart from all the kerfuffle that's going on, but yeah, still living off that wonderful result at Wembley.
Wasn't the intro for the show? I think Nigel deserves a round of applause, everybody, for that. It was just fantastic, wasn't it? Really good. Absolutely, Nigel. Top work, mate. Producer guy, Nigel. And of course, we've got to start by talking about the Europa League scenario, of course. News broke last Friday that Crystal Palace have been demoted from the Europa League into the Europa Conference League. We thought it might be coming, but we didn't know for sure. The club have obviously responded with a response by Steve Parish, an interview straight away. But look, we went into this season expecting we were going to be playing in the Europa League, having won the FA Cup. This is what we said in response. So Crystal Palace FC are extremely dismayed by UEFA's decision to exclude the club from the Europa League. It is clear for everyone to see that we are not part of a multi-club operation and never have been. Further, with the completion of the sale of Eagle Football's shareholding to Willie Johnson, there will be zero possibility of a conflict of interest once the competition begins. We will continue to press our case and work with UEFA to achieve the fair and just outcome so that we may take our rightful place in the Europa League, as well as taking legal advice to consider our options, including an appeal to the Court of Arbitration for Sport. Well, that's the response. We've all got our views on who's responsible for this mess, and it is a real shame. I mean, first of all, guys, can I ask you this question? Has this taken the shine off our FA Cup win, or doesn't it really matter? Paul Gear, you first.
Not for me, no. I've dreamt for years, like we all have, of winning the FA Cup. That day was the most amazing day ever, supporting Crystal Palace. Even I still get goosebumps and a lump in the throat when I watch the highlights back now, and they'll never take that away from us. And I've never been that bothered about Europe in the past before. Now it's here, it's a bit more of a topic. But if someone said to me, you'll win the FA Cup, doesn't matter what happens after, as I say, that was it for me. So, yeah, that's you'll never lose that.
Okay. What about you, Jel? Is it sour the taste a bit? The fact that we're talking about this stuff now when really we should be looking forward to a season of Europa League football?
Not really. I'm same as Paul. Europe's never been a big feat. Well, it was for us back in 1990 when we should have been in Europe. But I would have took, as I said, and I've just seen his name come up on there. I'm sure it was Rob Cranfield and myself were the only ones that said we would win the FA Cup last year when we were asked positions and everything else.
Oh, here we go.
But no one else is going to say it, so I will.
Go.
So listen, if we can't have Europa, I'd rather have nothing. And again,
interesting.
Honestly, I am, and I hope we talk about this. But see what.
Okay, let me ask Fergus this question then, Ferg. If before the cup final you knew the prize for winning the FA Cup was a place in the Europa Conference League, would you have taken that?
Yeah, it wouldn't have bothered me, to be honest with you, and I just wanted to win the FA Cup. Anything after that is a bonus. If you'd have said at the beginning of the season, you'll finish 12th, you'll win the FA Cup, and you'll be in Europe, doesn't matter what European tournament be,
you would have taken it, yeah?
Taken that.
Okay.
It's a little bit bitter that, you know, the way it's worked out, it's not Europa, it might be conference, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely not taking the shine off it, not for me anyway. I'm walking down and proud.
And you've got a plaque to put outside your house, haven't you? Have you
I have got a plaque, yeah.
Do you want to show us?
Yeah.
He's going to show us his plaque, right? So he's good. Don't forget, Fergus lives in East Sussex, right? So his Brighton supporting postman is going to see this when he posts letters through his letterbox. Brilliant. That's quality, man. That's really good. So he's got a way to put it back down where it lives. So that's all good. So look, you know, we might have taken Europa League, I think, if that was the prize for winning the FA Cup, but it wasn't. The prize was a Europa League place. And I think it's a matter of principle here, which is why the club are appealing. And of course, it is in theory a more lucrative competition. Although, as a guy on Talk Sport said today, and I need to find his name. Anyone know his name? He was a football.
Stefan Borson.
Yeah, that's the guy, Stefan Borson. He said that financially it wasn't hugely different, in as much as if you managed it to the round of 16 in the Europa League, it was about on par with a semi-final place in the conference. So, you know, and there was a much better chance of Palace progressing in the Europa Conference League.
I don't want him patronising us like that.
Do you not buy that?
No, I'm not having him patronising us like that. That's pathetic. We beat Man City in the FA Cup final for a game that they wanted to win. They battered us and lost 1-0. So don't really care about that. That's just them, just throwing off little plaudits or whatever. You know, trying to give us second best. But quite literally, if this appeal fails, I've said this to Nick, I've said this to everybody that I've spoken to. I hope is there a law against us playing our under-21s? And then we won't jeopardise us going for the cups again, both cups and the league. Because
no law at all. I think
you
name your squad. You got to name your squad. Don't forget, in the last season, I remember this in the conference. Chelsea were in it, weren't they? They won it. Cole Palmer was not in the squad at all in the first phase at all. I'll come to you, Paul, and then we've got a guest joining us from his car.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on it with Joe in that respect. As you know, Ian, I've put in our group chats. I would tell UEFA to stuff it, to be honest. I'd tell them where to go. It's if they're not going to let us go in the tournament we qualified for, okay, we can come on to the reasons why that is and why it might be to blame, and they might not be fully blameless. But if we can't be in what we were supposed to be in, then sod them. Just not
going to happen because Palace have already said that they want to.
That's my view.
Yeah. Okay.
But just that, Ian. The other aspect is the players. We might keep players if we're in Europa. We might lose them if we're not. And we might not be able to attract the sort of players we want. So it is going to have an impact, maybe not financially, but we want to take that step forward. And this is just going to derail us.
Okay. Nick, you're joining us from your car from Selhurst Park. Good evening, mate. How are you?
Good evening, guys. Welcome back to the Red and Blue Review, everybody. I'm fine, mate. Thank you. It's very interesting. I was just listening to you guys talking there, and I don't think it's ever happened in our history that I've ever agreed with Paul Gear. But I'm going to now. I said to Ian this afternoon, and I told him I was going to be a complete minority, a single person saying this, that I think we should, as a collective, as a club, tell UEFA where to go. We didn't qualify for the Conference League. We qualified for the Europa League. If you don't want us in the Europa League, go do one, okay? And walk away. And you watch the rest of the football community stand up en masse and say, I stand with Crystal Palace. I stand with Crystal Palace.
I bet Forest don't.
Well, Ian, apart from Nottingham Forest, yeah. I mean,
Ian, you said to me earlier on, Nick, you're going to be on your own. I didn't know Paul Gear was going to say that.
I don't know. Did I say that? Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I'll tell you one thing for certain, Nick. The reception and the video and the image is much better than your living room normally. Can you drive to SE25 and sit in your car every Sunday night?
Let's tell you what's going on here. Okay, well,
come on. Yeah, tell us what's happening.
Okay, so there was they met down at Norwood Junction Station. There's about, I would estimate, somewhere between 400 and 500 guys and guys and girls all collected. They then marched up to the ground where the HF guys climbed on top of the Homesdale turnstiles.
Right.
And that's that picture you can see there. And had a good sing song. Then one of them on the megaphone got up there, did their little speech and all the rest of it. There was a lot of press there. I saw Ian Abrahams from TalkSport there. I saw Alex Hales from BBC Sport who interviewed me. And by the way, our little old podcast will get a decent mention in the press tomorrow. Make no mistake of that. They asked how would you like us credited? I said I am Nick Philpott from the Red and Blue Review podcast. I can assure you we're going to get some good. And obviously my shirt got quite a lot of attention because of what I've had printed on the back of it. Okay, and so many people took a picture.
Tell us what's on the back of it for those that don't know.
Okay, well, what I've got printed on the back of this, is check email. Check email. And so many people came up to me, can you just clarify? Even the press were coming up. Can you clarify why you've had the words check email put on your top? I said, yeah, info@cpfc.co.uk. And we checked our bloody emails in the first place. Maybe we wouldn't be in this mess in the first place.
Do you know what? When I saw the picture, I didn't get it, but I got it straight away before you explained it then. That's quite funny. Well done.
Good stuff.
Very
okay,
good.
well,
Very good.
So it's literally just broken up now. Absolutely no trouble. Loads of flares. Look out on the Red and Blue Review social media. I've got lots of videos that I'll go home and post immediately, and you'll see it. There was no trouble. It was all friendly banter, having a real go at UEFA, of course, with some choice language. But never mind, I won't worry about that. But it was good, guys. Great to see you all. Welcome back. Another season ahead of us. The Red and Blue Review marches on. Yeah.
Thank you, Nick. Thanks for joining us tonight. It's live, cutting-edge reporting from Selhurst Park on the Red and Blue Review.
I'll let you crack on.
Jill just wants to say goodbye to you. He wants to say something to you, I think.
Jill.
Was I saying goodbye? No, I was trying to pick out Chloe Francesca in the comments, and she said, if we've broken the rules like other fans are saying, then why are the FA backing us? To be honest with you, the FA backing us, good. The Premier League needs to back us because apparently the Premier League is the biggest league in the world, the best league in the world. But if we get backing off of them, I mean, it's pathetic. The whole situation just stinks of.
It does. It does.
Hey guys.
See you later, Nick. Thanks for joining us.
No problem, mate. Have a good show, guys.
Thank you. Before we go on to anything else, I just want to read this statement out because I'm liable to forget. Nick has just reported from Selhurst that there's been a peaceful demonstration, albeit with some choice language, and some of the nation's media have been there, so expect to report on it this evening and tomorrow. But we've had a request from Trevor Edwards, ACCA Eastern Boy on the BBS, and he said the Palace protest group have planned another march this Friday. It will be a flash demo against Team, which is a UEFA partner. So it's on the 18th of July, 12:30 at Cannon Street Railway Station. Meet on the concourse 12 o'clock midday onwards. And Team have been the commercial arm of UEFA for 35 years and offices above the address. PPG invite you to come along for a peaceful protest, wear your colours and make some noise. So I'll leave it there. There's a bit more it goes on. But that's this Friday. So if you weren't there tonight and you fancy going along Friday in the city, 12 o'clock meet at Cannon Street Station. Or if you were there tonight and you fancy another go, then please do join in. Right, let's carry on our discussion about this, guys, because we haven't finished it by any stretch of the imagination. Look, some people are saying that it's Texter's fault. Some people are saying it's Parish's fault. Whose fault is it that we're in this mess, Jill?
Oh, I'm laying it straight at Steve Parish's door. I literally don't care. So what you can't do, right, is turn around and start going, well, it's Texter's fault because he owns this, that, and the other. Just very quickly, does he own part of another club in the Europa League, in the Conference League?
No.
Okay, well, so that's cleared that up. Parish has turned around and said that Texter has nothing to do with the day-to-day running of the club. We know the other two billionaire Americans have nothing to do with the day-to-day running of the club. I imagine huge decisions that he would need to go and speak to all three, and then, but he is the mouthpiece. He literally runs the club from top to bottom, as we know. You know, he don't like you, you're gone. You know, he likes you, you stay. Simple as. But he can't blame anyone. All this like sent to the wrong email. Get lost. Get stuffed. Like as if UEFA would have just some moody info. Someone would have Parish's number and ring him and go, "Why haven't you answered our email?" I've got. I mean, there's loads of people. There's people in this group, us 4 now, that have got Steve Parish's number from the days when he used to do a bit of social media for real fans and not just succumb to a little bit of pressure from those that can't be named. You know, I'm amazed. I'm amazed that no one. He will get if this all goes completely tits up like I think it's going to be. He probably is going to. He is going to get battered by me for the rest of the season and forevermore as the person that messed up. We had it in 1990, right, when they stuffed us over, and now they can on 91, and now it looks like they can stuff us over again. And I just can't believe this is happening, especially with everything that's gone on with City and other teams.
Well, exactly, Joe. I'm going to stop you there. Let someone else have their say. Paul, come to you, and then you, Ferg. Whose door do you blame? You leave the blame mainly. What do you think?
It's a tough one because there's no doubt there's been some negligence on our club. There's no doubt about that. But we're also a victim of a lot of huge circumstance. Yeah. Now, to go into a couple of things about the situation we find ourselves in, we had to be compliant with a rule on March the 1st that we didn't think we were a problem with. Okay, let's forget the side of it. Let's just go through the scenario. We're not in an MCO. And as far as I think most of the world know that. So we could probably look at that rule and think that doesn't apply to us. Okay.
Yep.
We're about after. The next thing, the way around this rule, to show how pointless this rule is, the way around it is even more stupid. Putting shares in a blind trust is the most token gesture thing you'd ever see, as Marinakis proved. He put his shares in a trust. A week later, he's storming onto the pitch to have a go at his manager. The Nottingham Forest website appraising their owner, his passion. And then the minute it's not a problem, he puts himself back in charge. So the blind trust is pointless. The next thing is, 1st of March, we were in the bottom half of the league. We're in the last 16 of the cup. We've never won a cup before. We can't realistically expect to be in the. It's like telling every one of those 16 clubs you better start selling Community Shield tickets in case you win the cup. It's not going to happen. So that's all that stuff. And then even when it becomes an impossible deadline because when you then qualify for it on May the 17th, you can't go back 12 weeks to sort it. So that again, it's all wrong. And then if you look at the real nasty kick in the tail, this would never have been a problem if Strasbourg had not conceded a 99th minute penalty. Lyon would have finished 7th, been in the conference. There would have been no problem. We would have been in the Europa League with the exact same ownership structure that they don't want.
It makes no sense, does it?
The rule is pointless. But the rule is the rule. If we got an email from the Premier League in October and then follow-up emails in January, February, the least someone from our club should do, even if they're not 100% sure that is ring the club and say, look, ring the UEFA and say, this is our situation. Do we need to do anything or whatever? And if we'd done that, we'd probably be fine because there's other clubs at the moment who still haven't sorted it. But because they've been in dialogue with UEFA and done that exactly that, spoken to them to clarify and work with them, they've got a bit of dispensation. So it's not good. As I say, we're very unfortunate in a lot of ways. This rule, again, we're very unlucky. This is the first year they've ever brought this rule into a season. It's always been in June. So which makes far more sense because a team will qualify. They will then know they've got a clash. They can sort it. Here, you're asking teams to preempt stuff that's never happened before, where fortune tell, and it's just a bit mad. And there's a lot of talk saying this date is going to go back to after the season again because it is so unworkable.
But you really can't write this stuff. Thanks, Paul. That was brilliantly put. You can't write this stuff because the irony of ironies is that the player that gave away the penalty that allowed, was it Strasbourg to equalise? Was that right?
No, Strasbourg lost.
He got sent off.
So Strasbourg to loss was on loan from Nottingham Forest. Yeah. You can't make it up, can you? You really can't. Fergus, have you got anything you want to add to that? Because Paul sort of covered most of the points there, but
he did, yeah. No, he covered it very well. Just two things for me, right? I'm going to simplify it. Why did UEFA change the rule this year from June to March? I'd like to understand why they did that.
Mm-hmm.
And the second is we've been kicked out on this Article 5 decisive influence. Now, at no time did Textor ever have decisive influence over the club. So I don't understand why UEFA have kicked us out on that rule because it doesn't apply. I don't understand why they brought it to March. The Europa Cup doesn't start till August. So by then, we'll be fully compliant. Textor will have left. You know, we'll have absolutely nothing to do with Textor or Leon or anyone else. So why aren't we allowed to play in Europa?
Well, this will be.
Why does it always go back to this date on the 1st of March? It's ridiculous. And just going back to Forest about Marinakis and his shares, they weren't actually put into a blind trust until late April. He signified that he was going to do it, but he didn't, and he didn't do it until late April. So he didn't attest to that 1st of March date either, but he was allowed to do it.
Is that because of the point Paul made earlier about the fact that clubs were entering into a dialogue with UEFA, therefore they gave them an extension on the deadline, but we didn't bother doing it. We just ignored it basically.
Yeah, but he did it because he thought they were going to be in the Champions League. He didn't, you know.
Exactly.
I just hope that. So there was two clubs that have been kicked out, hasn't there? In the last, is it Drogheda and Silkeborg? They've both been kicked out because they're both owned by the same company, right? So CAS have said no. We've got a completely different scenario here. We're not owned. With this multi-club ownership doesn't apply to us because we don't break this Article 5. So CAS should say, yes, okay, look, you've not complied with the rules. However, we can see that it's not a multi-club ownership. You've not breached Article 5 or whatever it is. Here's a fine. You're reinstated. Slap on the wrist. And then, like Paul said, next year they're going to move the date back to the 1st of June. So
they are.
That would be the sensible approach.
Interestingly, this guy on TalkSport earlier today, Stefan Borson, he said that for Palace to succeed at the Court of Arbitration for sport, they would have to have some sort of fresh evidence and some watertight arguments. And, you know, I think what you're saying there, Fergus, and Paul, you said before, is that, you know, the fact that there is no multi-club ownership, the fact that we have put the house in order, albeit in retrospect, with Textor selling his shares, it's got nothing to do with Crystal Palace anymore, that should count for something, shouldn't it? You know, surely they can see that if we play Lyon, there is nothing going on between the two clubs. That's what they're trying to stamp out. And it's clear to me that there shouldn't be a problem going forward with that, Paul.
In a moral sense, you're right. Legally, it won't stand that way. I've looked into the two CAS cases, and instantly you can rule a couple of things out. You can't quote the date. The date is, they set the date last October. Yeah. You can't. The date is the date. We've missed the date, so you can't go back and say, "Oh, the date's not fair." It was tough. It isn't fair, but that's the rule. So that we can't put that to CAS. The other thing we can't put to CAS is the fact that other teams have an extended deadline because, as I said, they've agreed that extra deadline by talking to them. So we don't have many legs to stand on. What people don't seem to realise is UEFA are just going by the CFCB's guidance on what we did to this. Now, the two ways we could get through this is if we can prove to them that John Textor has no influence. Now, if we couldn't prove it to the first lot, then unless something new is there, then we can't prove it to the second lot. So that's the first problem. So the only real chance I think we have here is basically, as I say, if we sell the shares and go back, and CAS have got to overrule the first body and say, actually, that sale is probably enough of a reason not to do it. But as I say, they haven't overturned the two before. The current two, Drogheda got kicked out because after they qualified for the Europe in November, but then they still came into a group with, they got a Danish club was brought into their group after that. And even though they went to UEFA, every possible scenario they constructed, UEFA wouldn't accept. So that's why they're out. The other club is DAC 1904, which is with a Hungarian club. They're in the same umbrella, but they've proved by March the 1st they're both two separate legal entities. But the problem is one is owned by a father and one is owned by a daughter. So Kazza said, well, there's clearly influence there. So unless
that's different to our scenario. It's different.
They're all different. But unless we can prove he had no influence. Now, this is what I don't get. John Textor on Talk Sport the other day said he'd shown this body a document saying he had no 0% voting rights. Now, if he's shown them that, then there's no debate. But he obviously can't have. So there was a lot of mixed messages from Textor. He spoke quite well, and if it was one side of the argument, and if you believe him, then it's fine. But the board in question didn't believe him, clearly. So we have a problem.
Okay, I'm going to give Joe the last word on this, and then we're going to move on, guys, because we could talk about this all night and go over the same old ground. Joe.
Listen, I agree with what everyone said, right? But on the other side of it, rules are rules. Without rules, we live with the animals. It's a John Wick. If you know, you know. I literally, like I've said, if it goes against us, I hope we play the under-21s, and it doesn't get it because, again, as we've said already, I think there may be one or two or three players that might be holding on for. No one, Eze's not going to want to be playing in some little outlet in Kazakhstan on a Thursday, and then Old Trafford and nor are we. No, we want that happening either. So I just say, if it happens, stick the 21s. It'll be great Europeans, and if they get really far, then we can always do what happens with the FA Cup anyway, and then stick the first team out. If we, start doing all right, I'll get near the end of it.
Indeed. And do you know what? I just think whatever will be. There's nothing we can do to influence it, really. I mean, it's interesting. The march, it's good to see somebody down there tonight, and I'm sure there'll be a good number on Friday as well, unless there's some kind of decision made.
Ian, it wouldn't be Palace, would it? If this hadn't have happened?
No, you're right. You're right. And we shall wait and see, guys. But I think we'll leave that there. No doubt this is going to run and run. It's certainly given the media something to talk about this close season, hasn't it? So we haven't been far away from the headlines every single day. I do want to move us on, though, and thank you for your contributions in the chat. I'm sorry we haven't read any out, but obviously we haven't had time tonight. But we'll try and come to some more later on. Joe, keep an eye out if you can. I'm going to come now to something that's rather sad. I hope that Paula and Ethan are watching tonight. I'm told that they are. Of course, Bruce Muirhead, who is a good friend of this show, sadly passed away unexpectedly on the 4th of June. He had undergone a fairly simple operation, but contracted sepsis, which he was unable to fight. He was a founding member of the CPFC Disabled Supporters Association. Last year, he became the chairman. Bruce worked hard to make sure that disabled Palace fans experienced the best match day experience. He helped organise many fundraising events, including the recent cycle ride to raise money for sensory packs to be used on match days at Selhurst Park. He was a kind, loving, supportive guy. He also had the greatest sense of humour. He adored his wife Paula and a proud dad to son Ethan. A proud, passionate, loyal Palace fan, the last game he attended was the FA Cup final after missing so many league games due to ill health. Bruce always watched the Red and Blue Review and really enjoyed his time on the panel. He appreciated the support from each and every one of us on the podcast. Bruce, your presence, humour, love, kindness and courage is missed beyond belief. And if you can come along on Monday to Croydon Crematorium to say goodbye to Bruce, there's going to be a drive-by past Selhurst Park, and the wake will be held in Speroni's. But do send an email to bruce55service@outlook.com if you would like to attend next Monday, the 21st of July. So rest in peace, Bruce. And difficult with that message on the back of everything we've just been talking about. I'm going to move us on and talk now a little bit about our fixtures. So, normally pre-season, this occupies our discussion, doesn't it, gents? The fixtures came out. When did they come out, Paul? On about a month ago now, didn't they? On the 18th of June.
Yeah, 18th of June, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and so the first game we look for, Brighton Hove Albion, home and away. Maybe the opening game, maybe the Boxing Day fixture, maybe the final game. So, Paul, you go to more games than most of us. What was your take on the fixtures when they came out, when you saw them?
Yes, it's not a bad fixture. This, I mean, ultimately you've got to play everyone twice, but you don't really want to play some potential big games at the end if you can. And it's not the worst running in the world. I know Chelsea are now the world champions, so that could be difficult. But they're also hopefully going to be tired out and not fully prepared, would be good. So yeah, there's no real clusters of bad games. Interesting stuff. I mean, from our point of view, and we always quite look. There's not too many horrendous midweek away games, although Burnley is on a Wednesday night in December, which is a bit of
yeah.
But yeah, interestingly, this year there's no Boxing Day game scheduled, which is the first time I think ever. But there will probably be some move back to that for TV. But yeah, so it was we've had worse fixture lists. It wasn't too bad, I don't think.
Okay, indeed. And you mentioned about long away games. I think in January there's Newcastle and Sunderland in the same month, which sadly I'm going to have to miss because I'll be away. But we start with Chelsea, as you say, on Sunday the 17th of August. And then you couldn't really write it, could you, that our first home game was Nottingham Forest with everything else that's been going on. Will it be us that will have a two-leg playoff either side of it, or will it be them? We don't know yet. And then they move the Villa game for TV to the Friday night because Villa and Palace were the two teams in the Europa League on the day that they do the Europa League draw. So I can see the thinking there behind Sky. And, of course, that game will have to change if the outcome isn't what we want in this conference. Then we have Sunderland visit Selhurst, and then we go to West Ham on the 20th of September. So that's how we start. A word about the Brighton fixtures. We play them at home first on the 8th of November, and then away on the 7th of February. That's the one we want to look out for third. We get the bus again from Upfield like we did last year. That was quite a laugh. The festive fixtures, you touched on Burnley away on a Wednesday night in December. That's not for the faint-hearted, is it? Come on. Will you be going that one, Jill? No, don't think so. Burnley away on a Wednesday night. It's such a shame because it's a great day on the opening day, which we've had before with the cricket club and everything. And it's going to be pouring with rain or snowing or something. And then then we've got Fulham City, Leeds we play over Christmas. And then the sort of Boxing Day fixture.
Dirty Leeds.
Dirty Leeds. The Boxing Day fixture on the 27th of December. That's the day at the moment. Is Tottenham at home before we play Fulham at home as well. 2 home games in quick succession there. Then a quick word about the final games. That looks a bit tougher, really. It's Liverpool in there and Arsenal in there. Arsenal at home final day. What do you think about that, Ferg? Arsenal at home on the last day?
Well, yeah, I'm just... hopefully we're not going to be in another relegation battle this season, but you wouldn't want to be playing Arsenal at home last game of the season having to win.
Not really.
I was just looking at the game before, the 17th. That's Brentford away. Won't we be at Wembley defending the FA Cup in the final then?
Yeah, maybe. If that's the FA Cup.
So that'll get moved.
Yeah, maybe.
It's a tricky run-in. It is a tricky run-in. Yeah, because you've got Liverpool in there, haven't you? Newcastle, Leeds.
The other fixture that people were looking out for. What was the other fixture people were looking out for, Jill? You don't go to many away games. What game would you have been looking out for if you were? We haven't rehearsed this bit, so probably give you the answer.
Man United, really, for me.
No, not Man United. No.
But for me, because my son-in-law's Man United, obviously, and they can't beat us for toffee, so.
For what? For toffee? Well, what's the away fixture we're really looking forward to, everybody?
Yeah, new stadium at Everton.
Yeah, the new stadium. I was going to say I led you into that, but
yeah. Unfortunately, I'm missing it. I'm away. Can't believe it. Gutted. Yeah, gutted. Let them get it right, and mess it up this season, and I'll go next year.
Going to the Etihad will be nice as well, just to rub in.
Yes,
most recent result.
Yeah, it will. It will indeed, yeah. So fixtures, it's a decent set. There's no hard runs really. It's a good mix, and as you say, Paul, we've got to play everybody twice anyway. I just want to cover quickly players in and out. This won't take long. Nigel kindly sent me through this information. So we have players that are in. Of course, we've got two signings so far. Hopefully, there'll be a few more coming through the door. But Crystal Palace has signed 32-year-old Argentinian international goalkeeper Walter Benitez from Dutch champions PSV Eindhoven. And we've also signed 27-year-old Croatia international. Quite excited about this guy. Borna Sosa has joined Palace from Dutch giants Ajax on a 3-year contract. He's a left-sided wing-back. So real competition for Tyrick Mitchell at last. I think Chilwell, some people thought Chilwell would be back this season, but not to be. And we've got this guy. Paul, what do you think about those signings?
Well, yeah, obviously needed, aren't we? We've been after a cover left back for a long time, so it's good to fill that gap. And obviously, Matt Turner's gone back, so we need a new spare goalie. But the question I was going to ask all you guys is more about potentials. And obviously, we got some interesting player issues this summer. And would you guys sell Eze and Gahey?
Well, I think Mark Gahey is the one that everyone thinks would be the first out the door. But if you saw some of the pictures today on social media, he doesn't look like a player that's leaving the club. I mean, he was out doing community stuff in a school, talking to sixth form students today. Fantastic ambassador for Crystal Palace. Why would you agree to do that if you were thinking of leaving and moving on and this wasn't going to be your future? I don't know. Joe, what's your thoughts on this? Do you think Gahey and Eze are going to go this summer, or do you think we're going to hang on to them?
Well, if we had to lose one of the two, I wouldn't want to lose them both. But if we had to lose one, it'd be Gahey because, the money. If you equate the money coming in as to him leaving, if he stays for the season and then leaves next year on a free, I think it'll be the equivalent of about £1.4 million a game. So, if we miss out on 65 million quid,
it won't be that much. I can't see it being that much. But
anyway. We turned down a bid for 65 million quid. So
that was 12 months ago.
Well, yeah, I know, but the thing is, I mean, people, now we know that Spurs would probably be interested. So there'd be a whole because he's English, he's decent. I think there'd be 4 or 5 clubs. Man United. It just depends what he wants, what his aspirations are. Yeah. But this is going to be. How old is he now?
25. Just turned 25, I think.
So he's got 2 contracts left. So one, he could go for absolutely ginormous money. He's not going to get the biggest money of his career in 4 years' time. He'll be on wind down money because a 35-year-old or 33-year-old centre back is not going to be as fast as. So I'd say that if he is going to go, he'll go to one of the bigger sides that can afford to pay him, between £200,000 and £300,000 a week, which is what he'll want. Which should set him up for life, really. Should.
Yeah, I think Liverpool are favourites still. Ferg, would you go along with that? Do you think Liverpool are the team that will come in for Mark Gahey eventually?
I think so, yeah. But a lot of these clubs have spent a lot of money. Liverpool, Arsenal now have spent over 100 million.
Yeah.
Now, really. if they're going to buy Mark Gahey outright, they've got to pay 50 million. They don't want to. They keep offering players like as makeshift sort of that we're not interested in. So I think we're sticking to our guns. Yeah. And I think it's the same for Eze. I think Arsenal are trying to offer us players like Reece Nelson and Trossard, and they're throwing all these names out there just to see if Palace are like, because they don't want to pay the 68 million get out clause for Eze. So it's, I'd like to, if there was one player going to go, it would probably be Mark Gahey. I wouldn't want to lose Eze because
he's too good, isn't he? He's too good.
He is too good. He just changes games in a moment, doesn't he? It's a bit like Zaha. He drifts in and out of games, but you give him a chance in front of goal, and 9 times out of 10 he'll take it. He practically won the FA Cup for us on his own, didn't he? I'm hoping we can keep all the squad. I've seen Mateta being linked with United and Liverpool now. Apparently, Munoz said that he wanted to go and play for a bigger club. And you don't know whether to believe it or not. I'd like to think it's all...
No, you don't. I clearly that will lose all those players. But, Munoz, I think, hasn't been in the club that long. or he's had his head turned maybe by big money. Thinking, because he gets a lot of plaudits, does Daniel Munoz, and rightly so, because he plays very well. And Mateta,
I think our club,
I'm not sure.
We need to be ambitious. We need to be buying players in. We need to show the rest of the squad that, we're going to step up, and they may stay at the moment because of everything that's going on. We've only signed a couple of players. We're not sending those signals yet.
No, we're not. We're not.
It's difficult.
We're not.
It's difficult.
We're not. Paul.
The problem, you're right, Fergie. It'd be great to be blind these players, but the problem is you're going to have to, for PSR reasons, you're going to have to sell. I mean, if Mark Gay is not going to sign another contract, then we have to sell him, because we're looking at that. Obviously, we were looking at a Sporting Lisbon defender. He would be 40-odd million. We can't let him go for free and then pay 40 million replacement for him. And so this is the problem. And obviously, if you can bring some money in there, obviously saves a bit of pressure on selling other people. So I think it's all down to Mark. If he signs a contract, then great. But if he doesn't, then I think we have no choice but to cash in. And obviously, Eze's a different one. He's got a release clause, but it's we can't stop letting players run contracts down, because it's costing so much to replace them now. You've got to get proper money for these players, and we won't get proper money for Mark Gay. We get 40 million at most. I mean, if we get a bidding war, you might get a little bit more, but clubs aren't going to go into a bidding war for him now when it's a year. As you said, they spent so much; they've got their budgets to look after. So it's going to be an interesting one with him.
And we've proved we can survive, and do well over a consistent period without Mark Gahey in the side. I mean, we look better with him, but we've proved we can play without him. Gel.
I think what will happen with Eze is, I reckon we'll get one more, because like you said, he won the FA Cup. Every major game it was him. His goals, everything, turning the game and stuff. I think we'll get, as we did when Elise was linked with Chelsea. We all thought he was gone, and then he played the rest of the season, and then he was gone. I mean, he got his big money to stay. Parish promised him that we'll sell you at the end of the year. Promise, sign the new deal. We'll get a load of dough, and I think that's what will happen with Eze. I think he probably will. I mean, you guys were at the games, and I saw it so many times with England, with him and Trent Alexander like that at the end of, and the last, when we went up there and he scored, was it? Who scored the goal? We beat Liverpool anyway, and at the end of it,
last season we won 1-0.
They spent.
We won 1-0.
I think they spent, like a mate of mine, Alex, who was working for Liverpool Football Club, he said they spent 2 minutes on the pitch. They were the last two off the pitch alone, giving it all that. And it wouldn't surprise me whether, Trent was saying, I'm off to Real Madrid, and you be an ideal replacement in the midfield,
Well,
or the left-sided. Liverpool do need a left. I know it's a terrible thing because of a tragedy, but they now need a left-sided player.
Yeah.
So
okay. Look, fingers crossed. As you say, Paul, Eze's got a £68 million release clause to a Champions League club as well. So he's limited in terms of where he can go, and he would want to go to a Champions League club if he's going to move on from Selhurst Park. Someone's tickled you, Gel.
Sorry, in
Bruce
the chat, Mark Callahan, the latest on the newsstand. Porter Canning have put in a quote.
Fantastic. We haven't got time to talk about the newsstand. Nothing to talk about anyway. I was going to tell you about these guys. These are the outs from the club. Crystal Palace under-21s defender Sean Grian completed a permanent transfer to Doncaster Rovers. Huddersfield Town have signed Crystal Palace's Owen Goodman in a loan move. And Joe Whitworth's gone back to Exeter. He must like it down there for a second season. And right back Danny Imray, after last season's time at Bromley's joined Blackpool on a season-long loan. What do we think of the new kit, guys? Normally we talk about the new kit pre-season. There it is, the home shirt. I don't know what... is that a goalkeeper kit he's wearing there? It looks like a bit like a deck chair, but there again, we always wear stripes, so it's going to, isn't it? I've heard criticism about the shoulder. Looks too much like a Brighton kit, the shoulder. What do we think of the kit? Paul, you buy a kit every season.
Well, I've obviously ordered it, so whether I like it or not, I'll order it. But I mean, it's red and blue stripes. You can't go too far. I don't fully understand the white stripe along the shoulder. Someone did a mock-up of that stripe being red, and it looked amazing. So, it's could be worse, could be better.
And of course, no sign of an away shirt or a third kit at the moment. So, are you going to buy the new shirt, Ferg?
I don't know. 6 out of 10 for me. It's not. It's yeah, it's not great. It might look better in the flesh.
I like it actually.
Yeah.
I think it's we've had too much fancy stuff recently. It's a bit more simplistic.
I don't like it. I'll buy it for my granddaughter. I'll buy a shirt every year, but only because it won't have the 88 on it, which is even better because it looks like an old school football shirt. What we have what do we get for winning the FA Cup on the shirt? Is it a star or is it a? Do we get anything?
Yeah. So what happens is this year our sleeve patch will be silver, where everyone else's will be red. And then going forward, after that, our sleeve patch will have a little number 1 in the corner.
That's on the FA Cup shirts.
Yeah, when we have the FA Cup patch, yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And we also get triangular corner flags, don't we?
If we want them.
If we want them. There's less for
Mateta won't care what he picks, will he?
No, he won't. There we go. Oh, well, that's let's move on from that. That's all good. So pre-season, what's been happening pre-season so far on the pitch? Because everything's been happening off the pitch, hasn't it? On the pitch, Palace under-21s played Barnet the other week. They won 3-1. And they won again today. They beat Bournemouth 7-0 today. I'm not going to go through those lineups, mate. There's too many names there. They won last season's away kit for that one. But they won 7-0 today against Bournemouth. I think Bournemouth must have played their under-12s or something. But 7-0. Very good. And then we had a behind closed doors. Did anyone see the game against Millwall on Saturday?
Yeah, watch the highlights.
Highlights, yeah.
Yeah, so 2 different 11s. Of course, the players that were on international duty, there was a lot of meltdown. People said, oh, where's Eze? Where's others? Of course, they were Munoz and so they're later back. But that's the team that started the fixture. And then we had a separate 11 for the second half. And we won 1-0. Jezrak Saki scored in the 50th minute. He's wanted by Wolves, apparently. 10 million, I read.
And Rangers up in Scotland.
They can have him, can't they? 10 million.
Rangers, yeah.
I was quite pleased. I was quite surprised to see Edouard playing. I mean, we've put him on the transfer list by all accounts, so I'm not sure risking injury is a good move if we're trying to move him on. But yeah,
he looks so disinterested in that training video. Yeah. God, do you see him? He's just got a face like a slack backside.
His confidence must be on the floor, mustn't it, really? Because Glaston's obviously doesn't fancy him. The Leicester manager, Leicester were crap last year and he couldn't even get on their bench. I mean, there's something wrong with him at the moment, isn't there? His attitude or something, there's something wrong. Which is such a shame because he started so brightly, didn't he, with the 2 goals in his debut and all the rest of it. But he's not the player he was. And we've got to move him on. He's no good to us.
I've got a question, Ian.
Yeah.
Got a question just
Far
quickly.
Far away.
Are there any players that stand out to you from the under-21s that we should bring into the first team for this season?
Paul, can I throw up one of you in your direction?
No, probably not, to be honest, simply because our first team and squad last season did so well. I mean, usually you look for a glaring hole and then see if there's a player in the under-21 that fix it, but there's not really. I mean, obviously we moved Devaney up from the 21s last year and he's done well. But he was stood out anyway there. But you look at them and they're only going to reach the bench at best. You look because obviously we're all quite content with our first team, but there's certainly no one that I'm aware of that's really blowing down the door to get in. We've had in the past, we've had a few players obviously, but yeah, I mean obviously the ones that might have a chance have gone out. I don't know what's happened to David Ozo. I mean obviously he's had first team experience.
Well, that's why I asked because he's probably the one that I would. Yeah.
He's probably the closest.
He spent a lot of last season injured, didn't he, Ozo, at Derby?
Yeah.
He spent a lot of last season injured.
Yeah.
But the Derby fans reckon that he was head and shoulders above the rest of the team. They really, really loved him.
That.
They, and that's a decent side, Derby. So, I just wondered whether he'd done enough to maybe be selected for that first team.
The boy, there's a right back, isn't there? Kapora. Is he good enough cover for Munoz in a first team squad? Could he play in, Europa games, early stages, that kind of thing?
He could play some games, but we saw him in the cup at Arsenal last year, and he had a half there, and he did okay. But there were obviously some. He was young, inexperienced, whatever. And until he gets some experience, you'll need that. But you always look at these players and you think, what would happen if you threw them in? I remember when we threw Aaron Wan-Bissaka in a few years ago, and he was outstanding from day one against some top quality opposition. But I'm just not sure I see that with any of the ones there. But if Munal's out long term, would you want Kapora playing? Probably not. But you got to ease him in a little bit.
Joe, you got Dharma was gonna set the world on fire after he got that that cameo. He looked really big, strong, quick, everything.
Who's this, Joe? Sorry, I missed what you said.
Adama Roller.
Okay, left back.
Left attacking.
Yeah.
And he seems to just sort of, I think he. Easy for you to say. But I don't know. I mean, we see them and then they just disappear, don't they? Which is I think is a real shame.
Yeah, I might try and get up to Bromley next Tuesday. It's an under-21 game against Bromley's first team, I think, next Tuesday.
Yeah, conference side, Conference side.
Exactly, yeah. So I've been threatening to go to a Bromley game. By the way, they're on Sky tonight, Bromley, against Ipswich Town in the Carabao Cup first round, apparently. If anyone knows the score in the chat, can they put it in? How are they getting on? So I might try and get to that game next Tuesday. I'm not promising, but I might try and get up there. It'd be interesting to have a proper look at the under-21s because they play a lot of their games at Beckenham and you don't get to see them, do you? Well, you can watch on the screen, but it's not the same as watching them live. Good question, Fergus. Have you got an answer for it?
Well, Paul stole my thunder, really. It was Ozil. I thought maybe, because he's played at that high level, most of our players that have gone out and loan have been lower league, but Ozil played Championship, aren't they, Derby? So,
were they League One last year, mate?
No, I think. No, they were Championship, I think. But he played really, really well, despite the injuries. I think
it's important, guys, that we see players come through from the academy. I think it's a good question. Under 21s, we need to see players come through because we need to make some money out of them. Ultimately, we need them to contribute to the first team because we've been banging on and waxing lyrical for the last couple of years about our Cat 1 academy, and now we can compete. And we used to bemoan the fact that Chelsea or Arsenal took the best players from South London because they have better academies. And then we're now saying, well, they haven't. We've got one as good, but we're not seeing the evidence of that. We're not seeing the results of that at the moment. So, be interesting to see what comes out in the days ahead.
I know the Derby fans were going on about Ozil, and I remember the Sheffield United fans was doing the same about Jez Raksaki. So, if he is for sale, doesn't sound like they're interested. But like I say, we'd like to see. I wouldn't like to see us selling academy players. I'd like to see the academy players being bought through. That's what I was. Yeah. That way we haven't got to go and spend 40 million quid then on a central defender and paying 200 grand a week. So,
yeah. Indeed. Okay, so we've talked about pre-season so far. So we've got the rest of pre-season. Let's have a look at those fixtures, Nigel, if we can. What's coming up? We go to Crawley, I think, on Friday the 25th, which is Friday week. We were there last pre-season, Paul, as well, weren't we?
It has a bit of a goal fest last year. Some ridiculous.
It was, yeah. So Friday night this time. So we'll be there in the what do they call that stadium now? Broadmoor, is it? I don't know. I can't remember.
That's the Broadfield Stadium.
Broadfield.
It's got some strange sponsor like People Pension.
How is it not called the Creepy?
The Creepy Stadium. Creepy Crawley. And then guess what? Instead of a long trip to America or Australia or Singapore, we go to Austria. Oliver Glasner's obviously a bit homesick.
That was surprise.
He wants to take Palace. There's a training camp there, and they play 2 games against the opposition twice. So they play FC Mainz, and then they play Augsburg. But both games are first one is half an hour each way. They have 2 games against Mainz, and then there are 2 games against Augsburg as well on the same day. These are full games, 90-minute games. And there's an hour or 2 in between them. And they're all on Palace Player. So if you've got Palace Player, you can watch those games. I will be on a holiday during that week, so not in Austria, sadly. But you can buy tickets to go and watch the game as well. So if you're out there, if you wanted to go out there, you can buy tickets, and they're not expensive, 20 quid or something like that. I was reading. And then, of course, we have the Community Shield. I was wondering whether Nottingham Forest wanted to take our place in the Community Shield because, they lost the semi-final. It was almost a final. But they're not doing that. And we're playing Liverpool at Wembley, 3 p.m. kickoff on Sunday, the 10th of August. Have we all got our tickets, guys, for the Community Shield?
Yep.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Yep. In the chat, tell us if you got your ticket for the Community Shield. I heard some horrendous stories about queues online today, difficulty getting tickets, getting people sitting together. But we've got our normal end at Wembley, which is nice, rather than the other end. So it's good to have a normal end at Wembley, isn't it?
That's right, yeah.
I know, absolutely. So then we've got Chelsea. We've already talked about that a little bit, haven't we? Chelsea away on the opening day. That's on Sky. Did you see those scenes in the Club World Cup final? They were a joke, weren't they? Donald Trump. What a joke. Unbelievable. Chelsea players were well embarrassed, weren't they? Deary me. Glad it wasn't my club.
They've airbrushed him out of the photo already. I saw it on social media. It's great.
Yeah.
I quite enjoyed the fight at the end of the match as well.
That was better than the game, mate. That was, That was top TV.
I'll say it through gritted teeth. It was nice to see an English club win it because there was lots of noise about the Premier League think it's the best league in the world. They're bringing all the best clubs from across the world, and an English team wins it. So,
cool.
Yeah. And congratulations, Chelsea.
I must admit, I lost interest in it quite early on, simply when I noticed that the best player in each game didn't win the player of the match. He won the superior performer of the match.
I know.
It doesn't bode well for the World Cup next summer, does it? It really doesn't. It really doesn't. But there we are. So how are we going to get on against Chelsea? What are our predictions for that game? Let's finish with a couple of predictions. Let's hear you in the chat. What do you think? What's going to happen at the Bridge on the 17th of August? Gel Helio, first of all. We're going to win, draw, lose. 1-1.
Yeah.
That was a nice, safe 1-1 prediction, same as last season. Ferguson?
Well, I was going to say 1-1, believe it or not, but let's go 2-1 Palace. If we keep all our players, don't sell anyone, we'll win 2-1.
Paul?
Yeah, I'm actually surprisingly confident for this fixture, considering we very rarely get anything out of it. But yeah, as I say, I think Chelsea won't have had the best preparation. They're about to all have 3 weeks off now, so they'll only be back for a couple of weeks or whatever. We'd have played Liverpool and be in the groove, hopefully. So yeah, I'm actually going. I think we're going to win it.
Indeed. I'll go with a win as well, a 2-1 win or a 1-0 or 2-0 or something. I think Chelsea will be ill prepared for this, and I think it'll be our day. And don't forget, there's also a first day of the season boat trip organised by Grant Saunders. It's an early start, guys. I'll be on the boat with Grant. He's roped me into doing some MCing because Nick Philpott's on holiday. So I'll be on the boat nice and early, haven't had a cooked breakfast. So do book on the boat. You know how to book. Get onto Grant's Facebook page where the Eagles have landed and book your place on the boat as well as the match at Stamford Bridge. And then we play Forest at home, which will be interesting. Guys, the next few days is going to be really interesting. Europa League or Conference League, we just don't know. We're just going to have to wait and see. We shouldn't have to be waiting, but it wouldn't be Palace, I think, as someone said earlier, without these problems and without these trials and tribulations. No plain sailing. You think it's going to be a nice high, but it's a roller coaster, isn't it, supporting this football club? It always has been, and it probably always will be. So I think that'll be enough for tonight, guys. Almost an hour. We'll be back after the Community Shield, of course, on the 12th of August. Not immediately after the game on the Monday, but on the 12th of August. When is that? Is that that's 4 weeks today, I think. It's 8 o'clock. And we'll have another show then, and we'll be previewing the start of the season once again. Look forward. I hope you can join us then. So thanks for joining us, guys. Paul, Ferg, and Jill. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Cheers, guys.
Good night.
Thanks, everybody.